Welcome to this week's Movie Math, where Disney's The Jungle Book did way more than the bare necessities at the box office. The live-action remake had been expected to debut on par with Disney's previous two entries, which had both opened just below $70 million. But instead, Mowgli delivered a debut on par with Alice's, which had kickstarted the entire genre way back in 2010. Globally, the film is already at $300 million, which means Disney has gone from having an embarrassment of riches this year in terms of product to literally having an embarrassment of riches. Zootopia is closing in on $900 million worldwide, and now Hollywood waits to see if The Jungle Book and Captain America: Civil War can coexist as the Marvel flick fast approaches. And the answer is most likely yes. Basically, Disney is drinking every other studio's milkshake. But what's also important here is that The Jungle Book is an important win for those against whitewashing in Hollywood, which isn't going away to the dismay of many. While Tilda Swinton and Scarlett Johansson make their debut as the Ancient One in Major Motoko Kusanagi, Indian-American Neil Sethi is the star and only on-camera talent of a movie which now boasts the third biggest opening of the year. Along with Star Wars: The Force Awakens, it's becoming pretty darn clear that new and diverse talent can be introduced in leading roles, as long as they're backed by major brands with major stars in supporting roles and behind the camera. The brand here is obviously Disney, and in addition to the stellar voice cast, there's Jon Favreau, who's been used to promote the film as if he actually appears in it. This is a much-needed comeback for Favreau, who was kicked off the Iron Man films after Iron Man 2, and now proves that despite cowboys and aliens, he's one of the most bankable directors working in Hollywood today. In fact, he cleverly positioned The Jungle Book as a crowning technological achievement that needs to be seen on premium screens in 3D, which means premium ticket prices, a tactic used by James Cameron and Alfonso Cuarón before him. But Favreau could even build on their success, as The Jungle Book is impressing audiences creatively as well, with an A cinema score and an audience that's split down the middle in terms of men and women and children and adults. In other words, it's what Hollywood calls a four-quadrant movie, which means it appeals to everyone. That's the ideal scenario when making a blockbuster, and The Jungle Book's debut is the second biggest ever for April, impressively surpassing Captain America: The Winter Soldier, Fast 5, and Fast and Furious. As you can see, April has been Vin Diesel territory, but these days Hollywood can't afford to respect tradition with an incredibly competitive and overcrowded release schedule. And while Disney's The Jungle Book has thrilled audiences with its scary sequences, surely Warner Brothers is scared but not so thrilled, as this mega success not only endangers their own Jungle Book movie, which they just pushed back another year to 2018, but their Tarzan, which hits theaters this July. And on the flip side, let's hope that it doesn't take Disney 6 years to make this sequel. Come on, Mickey! You can crank out Marvel and Star Wars movies super fast. What takes so long with your other franchises? Elsewhere in the box office, the weekend's other wide release had its own little victory. Barbershop: The Next Cut was expected to be the lowest debut for the franchise yet, but rallied at the last minute to not only open in second place, but tie with the first film's debut. Let's not mention inflation, shall we? Still, as I said in my review for Barbershop 3, after a string of hits, more black talent needs to push themselves further creatively, a la Creed, Straight Outta Compton, and the upcoming The Birth of a Nation. Although, nobody went to see Selma, did they? Which is a shame. Speaking of shame, two of the biggest stars in Hollywood, Melissa McCarthy and DC, saw their movies hit hard as the media and fanboys continued to shame both properties at every possible opportunity. Being compared to the toxic Adam Sandler, one of the first victims of this current ugly trend, The Boss fell over 50% in its second weekend, her biggest drop ever in a career that New York Magazine just pointed out has produced nothing but financially successful films. Then Batman v Superman suffered yet another devastating blow, proving that forget fighting each other, neither superhero seems a match for the rabid hate that's been directed toward it non-stop since its now infamous and aptly nicknamed Doomsday trailer. While we once wondered if it could reach the $2 billion club, the new goal of all blockbusters, it seems now that it won't even gain access to the $1 billion club. It was tough for superheroes all around, actually, as Ryan Reynolds took a heavy hit with Criminal, reminding Hollywood how his movies perform when he isn't donning red and black spandex. But the worst blow of all this weekend was to Hardcore Henry, which basically was KO'd, falling over 70% in its second weekend, out of the top 10. In the specialty market, A24 proved once again to be a shrewd and hip distributor with Green Room, which posted an impressive per-theater average. Sing Street and Documentary the first Monday in May, less impressive. As for this coming weekend, Bleecker Street Films will release their first wide release ever, Elvis and Nixon, opposite Universal's own live-action fairy tale, The Huntsman Winter's War. Let's just say the Jungle Book is expected to be the king of the box office once more, even if it suffers a huge drop, and it's not expected to suffer a huge drop. And that's the weekend box office. I'm Grace Randolph, and we just did some movie math. As always, thanks for watching, and I hope you'll go beyond the trailer for these other top movies.